and welcome to my YouTube channel. It feels great to finally be up and running, and I have a lot of ideas for this channel. I want to invite you to the inside of the world of music, show you how to get into the world of professional music and how to stay in this world, what's required to be a studio musician or a professional touring musician, how we record stuff, how we arrange, how we program music, basically all the tips and tricks that you rarely get to see. I'm also going to interview a lot of cool people, talk about all kinds of albums that I worked on in the almost 40 years I've been doing this. It's going to be a wild ride, so please hit the subscribe button down there, and so we can build a big family of cool people. I thought it would be a fun way to start this by showing you something I do pretty much every day. I do demos and album productions for people where I write or make a version of their music. So I'm gonna show you how I do my setup to make songs from an empty page to a finished product really fast. And one of the things I love most in life is writing music. So I'm basically just gonna jam write something in a sort of AC/DC classic rock style while I program it. So I have no idea what it's gonna be yet. And just show you how fast I can build a track from an empty page. So I decided that I want 140 to be the tempo of it. What I do is when I have a setup of a song in Logic that I like, that where everything sounds good and it's all set up, what I do is I open that session and I quickly rename it so you don't delete the old session. That's the first thing you do. You rename it to the new idea and then just delete all the files, and basically you have a ready setup with all the stuff you want. So what I have here is I use the Toontrack Superior 3 for drums, and what I always do, I use a bass drum and snare drum for dubbing. Give it a little bit more punch like you would do with a real drummer. A little percussion, just a shaker and tambourine that I usually use, and I actually also love Toontrack's new Easy Bass. It sounds amazing. I do play a lot of bass and stuff, but it just sounds so amazing that I actually like to program bass. Sometimes I'll play bass on a bass or a guitar, and you can import a file into this and it will make a MIDI version of it, but it sounds like what you played. And I'm using my own signature VGS. This one is hand carved by a Swedish artist, Jesper Eriksson. But it's got the Evertune bridge, so I never go out of tune. And it's got the true Temperment frets. See how they bent, which means that I'm always in perfect intonation. And this helps a lot for doing the work in the studio. I have several guitars with these systems, and once you start working with this, you basically can't go back because I never really tune my guitar and it's always perfectly intonated. I know I want to do an intro riff of 8 bars before the verse kicks in, so that for me means I wanted to start with a little bit more attitude, not like the full chorus attitude, but more attitude, so when the verse kicks in it goes down a little bit. So I would use a little bit more of an open hi-hat, and I'll start there. Gives me something to play to, and I only use the Kemper amps for all my guitars. That's all I do. I used to have the big racks with the Bradshaw racks with all the effects and pedals and this, that, since the 80s. And at this point I plug straight into a Kemper. I use some of the effects in that, but I use a lot of plugins, great plugins in Logic, and I have never been more satisfied with any kind of guitar sound that I do. So right now I'm using a Nailer 60 amp profile in my Kemper. This is straight, not a lot of distortion, and so I don't really know what I'm gonna play. I just have a sort of idea what I want to do. So I'm gonna see what happens, if I like what I come up with right away, and we'll take it from there. It works. So if I can remember it, I'll try to do a dub, so I have a left and a right mono track. Okay, that's pretty cool. Since I'm thinking of a sort of AC/DC kind of song, their typical 4/4 beat, so I'm gonna go with. So what I have here is, now I'm still using the Superior Drummer, a setup that I made myself based on their Hansa drums that I absolutely think are amazing. So I've made a setup of drums where I've doubled some of the drums and made like, I used 2 snares, one dry, one with more reverb on it, and the same for the bass drum. So I'm in a small room, but I used more ambient drums. So I made a setup, including in the mixer. I've gone through everything that I like, so the way it sounds. But since it's a very live sounding, typical regular drum, what I do is I made in the sample player in Logic, I've made a bass drum and a snare drum on the same keys that I play on the Toontrack. So all I need to do is just make a copy, and I have a dub for bass drum and snare drum. Just to beef it up a little bit. We'll add some cymbals. I usually add a little tambourine in the background and a little shaker just to spice it up a little bit. And I'm using the Toontrack Easy Bass. Sounds really good. So again, it's a sort of AC/DC kind of song, so it's pretty simple bass on this one. Okay, I kind of like that groove. I usually wait with doing any kind of intro fill or any start of the song before I know what kind of vibe I'm going for. So I'm gonna make something that's pretty simple. Sort of here in my head what I want to do with that, and since I'm in the key of in A, maybe I want to do something else. bass to that. Okay, I like that. Let's do a verse. Since I want the verse to come down a little bit, I stay away from the more open hi-hats and go for maybe tighter hi-hat. So I accidentally hit one of the hi-hats. Just remove that. And I know I want a very straight beat. And then I just drag this. I make the dub on the bass drums. Put a little crash on the verse. And then I stay away from the tambourine, but I add a little shaker because it sort of brings out the hi-hat in a soft way. Adds a little, it makes it a little wider. Okay, cool. So, since the intro riff was a little busy, I want to tighten the verses because that's where the vocals gonna come in. So, I'll see what happens. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I kind of like what I did, but I want to do it a little bit more clear. That's better. So when I think of a more classic rock band like this, I try to think like I'm two different guitar players. So I'm gonna play something that's different than what I did, since they're gonna be panned left and right. Leaves a little bit more space for the vocals, and same with the bass, just gonna be simple. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do a pre-chorus that's just 4 bars leading into the chorus, and I'll start with a hi-hat to see. And since I'm in the key of A, I think I want the chorus to go up, which means it might go to a D. So maybe the pre-chorus should, first of all, it should end up where it leads to the D, and I want to maybe go down a little bit from the A. I could do a C, so it's almost up to a D, or so. I think I'm gonna end on a C. See, I'm writing this as I'm programming. I think it works. Okay, not tight enough. Close enough for now. See if I can add a bass. And then we do bass drum. Change the hi-hat so it fits better. And pretty good. So all I know now is that I want to do a chorus. That's going to be in D. And since I want more energy again, I'm going to go with more open hi-hats. We'll see what happens. See if I can remember it. Okay, I don't really like what I did because it sounds more like a bridge than a chorus. So I'm gonna try something that sounds more like a hooky chorus. Shook me all night long kind of vibe. But it is an AC/DC kind of song, so we're gonna go with that. since it's a chorus, I'm adding more of that. Okay, and since we're doing this really fast right now, it could be a songwriting demo to send to artists, whatever, to see if they like it or not. I'm gonna copy the verse, pre-chorus, and chorus one more time. Classic arrangement. And after that, I don't know if we're gonna go back to the intro riff, or come up with a bridge, or maybe straight into a solo. Maybe I'll use that for a solo right now. And after that we go into, I want to make a double chorus, so I'm actually going to copy this twice, but since it ends with a stop, I'm just going to split the first 8 bars in the middle and copy the first, so it actually repeats twice before. And this is a traditional song that could use a little extra long end chorus, and then the very last one I'm going to remove the hi-hat. And I'm gonna go up to and to make it a little bit more like a real drummer. So basically we have the whole ground structure of the song. What I like to do is beef up certain sections for the dynamics with a stereo sounding guitar. I usually actually use an Eventide and a micro pitch, a little bit on it. Since the first guitars are in mono and pan left right, this one is going to be in stereo, sort of gluing them together with a little chorus and a little bit more distortion, just to beef it up, and then you can put it at a level where you like it afterwards. So the riff I played, so see if I can remember that. I'm gonna keep the verse and pre-chorus without this guitar. I'm gonna beef up the choruses, but I don't want to play the exact same thing. I'm just gonna do stay on the lower notes just to beef it up. Good. Copy it to the next chorus and copy it to the last one, and where we made that little split, you can either just go up here, or in Logic you can use the scissor and you can just cut it like this. And this is how fast I built a whole song. So all I need now is a solo. So I think I'm gonna use a little wah-wah for this, just so it's not too AC/DC or whatever. And we'll see what happens. I like early takes in the first 1-2 takes, because they happen. It's just an emotion. You don't think too much what you're gonna do. After the third take, you usually go back and go like, oh, what did I play? And you start thinking. So I love first and second takes, if possible. So since there's the last triple chorus here and it goes up on the ride, I want to add a little lead guitar on that as well, in the background. So what I usually do is I do a copy of the lead track with the same, so but it's a little lower in volume, and I don't know what we're gonna do. Okay, so basically that's it. The whole track is done, and it's like less than half an hour to something like that. Yeah, less than half an hour. I wrote and recorded a whole song, basically because I have done setup. Everything is already in a level that I like for this kind of music. I have my snare drum, bass drum, sample dubbing done, so that I only need to drag this one down here. It's a setup that just works. It's sort of pre-mixed because I already like this, and so if this was the first time I made this setup, I would make a note that this is a good setup for a classic rock song. So if I want to do another one, I open this session and rename it before I do anything else. Before you start deleting stuff, rename it, and you're basically ready to go. And of course I use the same amp on all of the tracks right now in the Kemper for this one. And depending on the song and all of that, it would vary between amps and stuff. And I would even change the guitars, sort of like AC/DC. I would maybe have a Telly on one side and a Les Paul on the other, or this one. It all depends on what it is I want to do. And in this case, I truly didn't have any idea what song I would gonna write. It was basically just whatever comes out. And it actually became a pretty cool classic rock song. And who knows? Maybe this song will end up on an album in the future. You know, we'll see. I'll keep you posted about it. But I will make more videos about programming drums to make them sound like a real drummer. I'll give you a lot of tips on how to make programming sound good, not stiff at all. And in this case, it's all super quantized. I haven't moved anything around. And as you saw, it's first or second takes on guitars and everything, and it's basically just what happens. Of course, this is based on a lot of years of routine of setting up and playing and all of this, but it isn't hard to make things sound good if you set it up right and know how to do everything. So I'm gonna go in much deeper to all of this in all the coming videos. I'm gonna teach you how to arrange guitars, how you think in all kinds of music, from a Katy Perry pop song to a classic Brian May Queen song to a Toto-ish song to a heavy metal to whatever, to all of these styles. I'll show you how to record and set up sounds, effects, and everything to make this work. So basically, this is the first video to get us started. And again, don't forget to hit the subscribe. All of these jam tracks that I do in the beginning of each video, again, they are available to buy. You will get the WAV file. You can donate anything you want, from €1 to €1,000,000. I don't care. There's a PayPal link down below. It will be a way of supporting this page, this channel, and so whatever you donate is fine. Anyone that donates, I'll send them the WAV file that you can play with any way you like. You can record over it, and you can even post it anywhere, and it's all good. You can use it as you like, and I will do all styles of jam tracks, from super funky to really fast metal, to West Coast, to R&B, to all kinds of stuff, bluesy stuff. So this is basically just the first video to get us going, and I hope you will stay. I hope you will have fun. I hope we can grow this page together, and I'll see you very soon again.